The New Balance Rebel V5 versus the Puma Velocity Nitro 4. Over the last 2 months, I've been testing two new daily trainers from both Puma and New Balance. I've found that they've been fitting into my shoe rotation for pretty much the same sort of run. So I thought today I would save myself some time of making two running shoe reviews and put these two up against each other. So we have the New Balance Rebel V5 versus the Puma Velocity Nitro 4. I'm going to put them head to head over a number of categories and hopefully help you decide on which one is best if you're looking to pick up a new daily trainer. I've ran about 50 kilometers in both. Yeah, I've thoroughly enjoyed both of them, to be fair. So if you're looking for a daily option, then hopefully this video can help you pick between the two. So we'll start with the New Balance Rebel V5. Now, the Rebel from New Balance is traditionally a very soft trainer that you can use in your rotation for those daily miles, but it also offers a lightweight package that allows you to pick up the pace if you want to. So maybe the odd tempo run or efforts where you want to save maybe the super shoes, you can still do intervals in this shoe if you want to. I found personally it's been more of an out and out recovery, an easy run shoe for me just because of the way this one's set up. But in terms of updates from the previous version, we've now got 15% more foam in the rear. So it's gone from a 30mm to a 35mm in terms of stack height, and it has a 6mm drop between the heel to toe. It also is a little bit wider, especially in the forefoot, than the previous version. And I've noticed New Balance have really improved the grip on this one as well. There's a lot more rubber coverage on the bottom. There's still a little bit of area of exposed midsole here, which I'll talk about when it comes to durability, but overall I've really been enjoying this one when it comes to those daily miles, anything from 8 to sort of 15-16 kilometers at an easy pace is where I've been using this shoe so far. Moving on to the Puma Velocity Nitro 4. This is traditionally the budget-friendly daily trainer option from Puma, and this has seen a real big update in the fourth version. The third used a compound called EVA in the midsole, and it was sort of split between this nitro foam and the EVA, which meant that it was a little bit firmer, if I dare say so. It was a little bit on the boring side, but with this new version that's been completely revamped with the use of a full nitro midsole, which is definitely the biggest upgrade to this one, which just means it's now a lot sort of bouncier, more responsive underfoot. So that has overall improved the running sort of feel of this one quite dramatically. It now feels a lot more premium than maybe the previous shoes, which were definitely more suited towards the budget side of things in terms of feel. The fourth version is also slightly lighter than the previous version, which is always good to see shoes trending in that direction, and it maintains the sort of traditional feel with that 10mm drop with a 36mm stack height. So in terms of stack height and the way these shoes fit into my rotation, it's been very much the same for those easy runs up to about 10 miles where I want to just get out, plod around in sort of zone 2. Both these options are going to be good, but there are a few little differences which have made me favour one over the other, which I'm going to go into now in the head-to-head section of this video. So what I've done is I've come up with 7 different categories that I'm going to put these shoes up against each other and then conclude based on those categories why I have chosen the shoe that I've chosen in terms of being my personal pick. So let's start off with the price point. There is a clear winner here when it comes to price, and that is with the Puma Velocity. It costs £110, whereas the New Balance Rebel V5 costs £140. So £30 more expensive for the New Balance. Really think a big plus point to the Puma shoe is that price point. For a runner on a budget, then yeah, look no further than a Puma Velocity Nitro, especially in this fourth version. When it comes to weight, there is a winner here, and it is the New Balance. 225 grams in US size 9 and 247 in the Puma. So very similar in terms of weight, but I would say you can marginally feel it on foot. The New Balance does feel that little bit lighter. On to my third category, which I'm going to call the midsole. This is this section of the shoe, the lower part that protects your foot from the ground. And there's quite a big difference between how these midsoles feel, and I would say is probably the biggest difference between the two shoes. So if you like a really soft, plush, midsole that sort of squishes underfoot and compresses quite a lot, then the New Balance is definitely the best option for you. I would say it's one of the softest out there. It really does feel like a marshmallow underfoot. Downside to that is it's not super stable. If you're somebody who lands more on the outsides of your foot, overpronates, or has any issues with needing structure in your running shoes, then maybe this soft midsole isn't going to be for you. Whereas in the Puma shoe, things are a little bit different here. It's a slightly firmer midsole, but I'd say it's a little bit more bouncy. It sort of gives back the energy return a little bit faster when you hit the ground. This shoe for me has a midsole that I personally prefer more than the New Balance. It just offers a little bit more structure, and I prefer a bouncy feel rather than an overly soft shoe. But again, that comes down to my personal preference. Moving on to comfort, I think the New Balance marginally takes it here. The upper is a little bit wider and a bit more breathable than the Puma. And I found it has a really good lockdown, and it's not too snug that it makes your foot really hot. Whereas in the Puma, I'd say things are a little bit more narrow here, and the upper is a little bit thicker. So again, depends on where you're running. In terms of uppers, they're both very comfortable, but I would say maybe the New Balance just takes it for the comfort category. Performance wise, again, both great, but it comes down to personal preference. I think that the firmer, sort of bouncier ride of the Puma suits me a little bit more than the real soft, squishy foam in the New Balance. I feel a lot more comfortable picking up the pace in a firmer, bouncier shoe than I do a shoe that's super soft. But when I want to go for, say, a recovery style run, then yeah, I prefer a softer midsole. So again, performance, it comes down to personal preference, but I would narrowly give it to the Puma. Moving on to the sixth category, which is the grip, and there is a clear winner here with the Puma shoe. Puma uses, they like to call Puma Grip, and it is the best in class when it comes to running shoes. Super durable. This rubber takes a long time to wear down, and in wet conditions it works just as well as it does in dry, which cannot be said for all running shoes. And you can even take it on sort of buffed out, easier, lower level trail type things, and this shoe will handle it well. The New Balance has seen some big improvements to the grip on the previous versions that I actually found were quite almost dangerous in the wet conditions, especially the 3. That rubber on that shoe was very slippery. The 4 and now the 5th version have seen much bigger improvements, but I would say that the Puma still offers the better option when it comes to grip. So if you're somebody who's looking to run in wet conditions or more on the trails, then the Puma. But that being said, the New Balance definitely doesn't have bad grip. It's just not quite as good as in the Velocity Nitro. And then finally, on to my last category, it comes down to the durability. I found with the New Balance, it started to show some signs of wear here on the exposed midsole there, and just overall the rubber seems to be breaking down a little bit quicker than that found on the Puma shoe, which yeah, hardly shows any signs of wear. And I've run roughly about the same amount of kilometers in both these shoes. I also found that with the New Balance, on the longer sort of easy run, so 16 kilometers, I think I've done a 20 kilometer in this shoe, the midsole does seem to compress quite a bit. So it doesn't feel like it's bottoming out, but it definitely feels much more soft and squishy underfoot, whereas the Puma sort of holds more of its structure. In terms of durability, then the Puma Grip offers the win to the Nitro. So to conclude this video, I think if I had to pick just one, I would be slightly more swayed towards the Puma, based off I personally prefer a slightly firmer, bouncier ride underfoot for my daily runs, and also that price point at 110 means in terms of value for money, this is definitely the better option. But I have also still been reaching for the New Balance Rebel V5 when it comes to days when I want a softer shoe underfoot, so the days after, say, a marathon workout where I want something that's going to protect the legs a little bit more. That soft, squishy feel of the New Balance is really nice. So both these shoes are great options for daily miles. My personal pick would still be the Puma. I think a huge difference between the Puma V3 and the V4 in terms of just changing that midsole to being a full sort of TPU nitro foam, they call it, really improved this shoe in terms of its use and enjoyment. It's now a fun, bouncy shoe, whereas the previous one was a little bit boring. So yeah, I hope that helps if you were looking to pick a daily trainer between these two. Other options to consider are the Adidas Evo SL. Very similar in terms of falling into that category of daily running shoes that you can also pick up the pace in. I would say that the Evo is maybe suited to slightly faster running than these shoes that are more tailored towards the recovery runs. And another shoe that I'm really enjoying for my easy mileage at the moment is the On Cloud Surfer 2, I think it's called, which offers a slightly firmer ride than both these shoes, but it's a little bit more stable. So again, something you may want to consider. But hope you've enjoyed this video. Hope it's helped with your decision if you're looking to pick up a new pair of running shoes. If you've enjoyed this video, please leave a like, consider subscribing for more running shoe reviews. I've got plenty in for review at the moment. I've got the new Brooks Hyperion Elite 5. I've also been doing a little bit of running in this new one from Asics. This is the Edge Tokyo. Talk about lightweight. That is literally weighs as much as a paperclip. So there'll be some other running shoe reviews coming out soon. But until next time, aspire to run, run to inspire, and I'll see you again soon.